Welcome to the show, everyone. I'm JJ Flizanes.
I think I'm Doug Sandler, but I'm not really sure. Do we have a third person in the room? Is this possible that we are sharing the microphone, setting the stage for the one, the only? Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Doug. No, wait. I'm Christel. Hey, everyone.
So when you come to the house or you're part of the tribe and you listen to the show, somehow you eventually make it on the show. And I know that Christel has been a very dedicated listener and attendee and client and friend and supporter. And when Doug said to her tonight, "Are we going to record a show?" Christel lit up like, "Yes, let's record a show."
Until we put the microphone in her face and we turned the recorder on, and then all of a sudden she I froze up. I'm like, no, there's no freezing up. There's no freezing in this game of podcasting. So, what do you have to say for yourself, Christel?
I have a lot to say for myself. First of all, we had this conversation over wine. Second of all, I thought we were going to have this recording over wine. So now I'm just kind of like...
So we need to get obviously Christel some more wine, JJ. That's the issue.
I think neither one of you nor I need any more wine. So let's keep on recording. So what are we talking about today, guys? So Christel, do you have anything that is a burning topic?
We have cream for that, by the way, if it's burning.
And you might want to guess who had more of the wine tonight, and it wasn't me, obviously.
Well, I don't know what to talk about. I mean, we're getting ready for the manifestation boot
camp,
which is exciting.
That's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the manifestation boot camp and how cool it's going to be and the circles that we're going to be doing. And if you're not here and you're just listening to this, I am so sorry you missed the circles.
In the penile music playlist.
Okay, that's an inside joke.
That'll be next.
We'll explain that at a later date. But yes, we are in preparation for the Manifestation Boot Camp. And Christel has moved to not only attendee, client, and supporter and friend, but to in charge. Christel is now in charge. She is now the event coordinator for the actual on-site live event.
Finally, I have a second boss in my life, just like I needed a second boss, like I needed a hole in the head.
Well, someone needed to straighten you out, Doug.
So why don't we just chat about for a second, since we're getting ready for this event. Christel, your first event with me was the Next Big Step last year, literally like a year ago.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Have we only known each other in person for a year?
Yes, ma'am.
Feels like years since I manifested this lovely JJ.
Decades for me.
It feels like decades for you. Maybe you need to cut down on the wine. Have some water over there, babe. There's some. Okay.
Wait, no. So Doug wasn't at the first event, though.
He was at the Next Big Step for a day.
Yes, he was. Yeah, I was a hot mess express back then. Thank God for that event and releasing What Weighs You Down because, I'm all loving light and loving life now.
Well, let's talk about that because we were talking about that today as we walked on the beach when you arrived here in LA, that my first email from you after listening to the show, and at that point, how long had you been listening to the show?
So I actually started January of that year, so January 2018, because I think I started listening to it when you were doing a release on What Weighs You Down, because I'm like, oh man, I would have loved to go to that, but I just missed that one, so...
So you had been listening since January. Yep. I got an email from you around August or maybe September, beginning of September. And the email literally didn't even say hello. Like you just started into, so get this. And then you proceeded to tell me your whole story. And at that point I was like, and you're like, is there anything you can do for me? And I said, yeah, but I need to work with you to know what direction to take you in. And you're like, okay. And I think we had done the 2 sessions before you were not able to go at the time to the Next Big Step. And then something happened in your schedule and you were like, I can come. Like something changed and you were able to come all
Oh,
of a
yeah.
sudden.
Within a couple of weeks, I had a session with JJ and I booked a plane ticket and was at the Next Big Step. And I just can't believe, first of all, if anyone would have saw the email I sent, it was pretty crazy. So I'm like, if this lady even answers me, it'll be a miracle in itself. So not only did she was able to help me, but I'm like, all right, she like answered. Her event was amazing. So yeah, so now I decided that we're best friends. So
Christel, I want to do this, and sorry, I know that I'm interrupting a moment here between you and JJ, but I want to go back to that moment for just
Doug's
a second.
feeling left out.
No, I'm not feeling left out, but I think that there's an important connection that I want to make with your experience and the experience of many people that are probably listening to this and want to make the journey to LA or to the East Coast where your next event is going to be, or somehow figure out how they can get here. And I think the issue is oftentimes in the experience or in the lessons that you're learning. So I want to go back to that moment just for a second where you said to yourself, I can't make it. I have these things that are in the way. I have my work schedule or my personal schedule, and I'm not even sure what it was for you, Christel, but I know exactly when you just said that, I said, this is the experience that most people are going through that aren't here. And so can you share what made it possible? It wasn't just divine intervention. It must have been something. Now, of course, it feels like it was divine intervention because your schedule automatically, magically cleared. So
Right.
Can you remember what it was that created that opening where you said, I'm going to do it?
Well, see, it wasn't even so much that maybe I had a work conflict that opened up, but at the end of the day, there's always a ton of things that will hold anyone back. I have 2 younger kids. They have sports every weekend. I work full time. I'm a mom. I live in Missouri and I'm going to LA. So then there's that whole, oh, why am I flying to California? This is such a selfish thing of me leaving my family behind to do this for myself. But then I had that aha moment where I was like, okay, I reached out to her for a reason, and the sessions we had was already helping me. So this is not, hey, I want to ditch my kids and my family and everything else and go. This is, I need to work on myself to be better with everyone else. And when I came back, yeah, I was a better mom. I was a better wife. I was just in a much better place. So it's like, do I want to keep feeling this dark feeling and doom and gloom that's not helping anyone around me? Or do I want to take 3 days to improve myself and come back and benefit not only myself, but everyone around me?
Had you ever been, I've never asked you this, we've been working together for a year, but had you ever been to a workshop like mine before?
I have not.
Yeah, it's amazing because, in the entrepreneurial world, there are workshops all the time for different self-growth kinds of things. Most of them are business related, but some of them start out being business, but then get into more of that personal, because really the root of most people's issues come into that psychological limiting beliefs, not feeling good enough, not feeling worthy. Like the ability to manifest money is in direct correlation with someone's self-worth. So if I don't feel good enough, then I'm never going to be able to ask for a raise or the money that I need for something, or God forbid, go out on my own and ask other people to pay me for my services or my gifts or my talents. So it's interesting that I've never asked you that, if you'd ever been to some other workshop.
The other thing I want to find out is, okay, so you made that step, that first big step to come to something that you've never been before. You kind of threw faith out there and you said, I'm going to do this. And you relied upon JJ to bring the hustle to you, whether it was a hustle of, I need to improve my personal life, I need to improve my professional life, whatever it was that you came to helping to heal a little bit, or at least to move to the next step. Talk about your life over the last year. And again, I haven't even asked you this, so I'm asking a loaded question here. What's happened and what's unfolded in the last year that, whether it was because of you coming to a seminar like JJ's, or just because you made some stuff happen, or maybe you didn't make stuff happen, what's happened in the last year that you feel like you're proud of and that you have used as, these are the defining moments in my next step in my life?
Oh my gosh, where do I begin? So there's just a ton of things. And sorry, I'm not looking at you guys. I look at the ground so I can focus
You
on
can
it.
look
because
wherever you want.
You know what? If I look at Doug, I might just start laughing and lose my whole train of thought. But just like one of the sessions was on love languages, and that was an aha moment for me. I'm like, oh, my husband never tells me he loves me and this and that. And one of it was acts of service, and someone had said something like, oh, doing the dishes or helping around the house or whatever is a sign of love. I'm like, oh, that's how he shows me that he loves me. So that was an aha moment. So just knowing that in the nonviolent communication, the imago therapy, just so much of it I can relate to. And in the last year, there's so many times where somebody is in a hiss about whatever, whether it's at work or at home. And the first thought that goes in my head is, this has nothing to do with me. This is something that's going on with them. Whereas before, I would have been like, oh my God, what did I do? Or you hurt my feelings. And I never say you hurt my feelings. Ever since, JJ's podcast and these events, I'm like, nope, there's clearly something going on with that person. So it's just a really grounding, just wonderful mindfulness, and you can just have a better relationship with yourself and others once you realize that it's not always a dig at you per se.
So talk about maybe aside from this, the self-reflection and the understanding of a lot of those things. Again, love languages is huge, and we've done a lot of work with love languages and imago and just the anatomy of emotion and nonviolent communication. I mean, I'm a fan of JJ. I mean, huge fan of JJ, and I live with her and I see it 24/7. We even had a session last night where we actually had a couples dialogue. And it was like, holy shit, in my previous relationships, especially in the 2 marriages that I've had that have failed prior to my relationship with JJ, I was just thinking, if I had this simple fucking tool in my life before all of the shit broke down in my life with these 2 relationships, how much better both of those relationships could have potentially been. So aside from those things, which are extremely important, talk about the things that you've been able to manifest, whether it's business, personal. What have been some of the things that you've been able to accomplish?
Well, I just want to interject because we were driving to pick up dinner, and Christel and I had done a session around some of the relationships in her family and how to have some compassion for those around you and how not to take things personally, even though they're literally deep childhood wounds that even your siblings could all agree upon that a parent does that nobody likes. But even when you have that kind of support to like back up a second, and we actually spent a good portion of one of our sessions on that. And you're telling me the story about how now there's been a switch and a flip in this parent. And I'm like, well, and she's like, what's going on? Am I in the twilight zone? I said, well, how's that for manifesting? Like all we had to do was switch your perspective, and the person in question literally showed up differently for you.
I mean, it's amazing. I'm glad you pointed that out to me because I am constantly manifesting things that I don't even realize it. And that was a prime example. We just had this whole conversation about my mom. And when I mentioned coming to this event, maybe in the past she would have been like, oh, I bet the boys would miss you, or kind of guilt treatment, or, don't forget about going to church, this and that. I think she thinks that I'm just on a wander away from everything I grew up and believed. But in the end, JJ's like, no, she's worried about you. She lives in such fear. And now that I have that compassion for her, it doesn't bother me as much. So then today I'm driving to the airport and she calls and she was like, oh, you're going to go to California without me? And I'm like, oh boy, here comes the guilt trip. And she was like, oh yeah, that'll be nice. You're going to have a good time, So I'm like, whoa, who is this lady? So, and that's what's kind of cool too, because once you start shifting, people around you start shifting too. So, it's pretty awesome. But yeah, I don't know. I think it was after the next big step, something clicked in my head. I'm like, oh, I'm going to start doing some fun things for myself. I took like a soap making class. Next thing I know, I have my own business.
Well, let's back up. You joined the Manifestation Mastermind, the 6-month beta test that we did in January. And even though you came in with certain goals, you walked out with a business. And now you're traveling around showcasing your business at different events and getting great feedback. And I believe having a lot of fun.
Oh my gosh, I'm having a blast.
Yeah. I mean, it's been really fun to watch your business grow and to watch you have a creative outlet that's girly, and your husband supports by buying you those molds with the astrology on it, and your son's helping you and your sister's helping you. And, it feels like it's been a really great way for you to have something that's just yours that you can share with the world, that you're excited about, that allows you a creative outlet that people support in your life.
Absolutely. So, awesome, great things happening, all because of that first event I attended.
Well, one of the things, and even though I have just been basically I don't want to say an outsider, but I have been that male person that kind of looks on and sees, I help JJ and I support her, and the show has been great. But I always thought the events were one of those things that I would go to in support of JJ. I never really thought about it in terms of these are events that I'm actually going to pull anything out of. And I remember that first time that I had a chance to sit in that circle and share my emotions and share where I was in my life and share my feelings and really open up to people that I had never really met before. And that, for me, was a huge opportunity for growth. And I say that because when I think back to the last year that I've had a chance to get to know you, Christel, and know you through JJ, not necessarily get to know you by my relationship with you, but get to know you through JJ, I see these huge leaps and bounds that you have made, and I hear JJ refer to you, and when she refers to you, it's not referring to you from a position of this is someone that I want to help. This is someone who has made such progress over the last year, and I get to be proud of you from that perspective. So as I'm witnessing the transition of Christel from old Christel to new Christel, it's just amazing to watch this transition. And again, I appeal to those that are in our community that listen to the show on a weekly basis and hear the lessons that JJ has to impart upon you. I implore upon you to take the steps that you have to take to either get to an event, get to a moment where you have a conversation with JJ, get to a moment where you can have a conversation on Facebook with Christel so that you can see, like, this is not, Christel is not like a paid soldier that comes out and does this. She's like the product in action, and it's so wonderful to see all the progress that you've made, Christel. And I'm really proud of you for all you've been able to do over the last year.
Oh, thanks, Doug. And I feel like we're getting all woo-woo right now because I'm looking at us, and look, we're in a circle. It's your favorite thing. We're circled up, Doug.
It's Domino, Christel, JJ, and Doug.
We go to events, and he said, "Oh, circle it up, everybody." And I want to say, honey, everyone doesn't know. Circle it up.
But what's so great about this circle thing, and if you have never experienced what a circle is, and there's so much emotion and so much healing and so much sharing in that circle, it's almost like no matter where you go, no matter what your event that you go to, sitting around the freaking dinner table, you just want to say, hey, can we just stop for just a moment? Everybody, let's just circle it up. Let's just spend a moment. Can we talk about what's going on in each other's lives? If I could have that circle opportunity back in my life when my brother was transitioning, or when there was a really tense moment with my sister-in-law, or when my marriage was in a part of breaking down, and I could have said, can we just, you and me and your friends and my family and your family, can we just take a moment, and even if you can't be together physically, can we just spend a moment talking about what we really find is important to us in life and the things that we have that we feel our wounds are? When you can share your wounds with other people and you can share the places where you need help and you're reaching, I feel like you can heal anything if you have an opportunity to really get out of your head, get out of the surface and get deep into what is challenging you, anything is possible. And that's what I love about that circle time stuff.
Well, thanks, babe. And so far, this show has been a complete pitch for coming to my show, coming to my event, or working with me, which I appreciate. I appreciate. But let's take it to the point of someone, Christel. You know, you listened from January until September. And I think you only reached out at the end of August or beginning of September. So let's talk about some of the things that the reason why you stayed and the reason why you stay listening to the show, and what you would recommend for anyone else who's out there listening, who's never talked to me privately or come to an event. Maybe they have no interest in coming to an event, but, you know, do you have any advice for any of those people who are out there that you know were like you from January to August listening to the show?
I do. Okay, baby. Let me tell you.
Okay, baby.
Okay, baby. Yes, she listens.
I do listen. No, I really enjoy the shows a lot, but it's just so much more. Like, you can go for weight loss, for example, and that was one of the big things I wanted to work on. And little did I know, I had all this other bag of stuff built up in me, and it was like, I don't understand. I'm doing the same things I was doing a couple of years ago, and I'm not losing the weight. Oh, it goes deeper than just extra pounds. It's this emotional stuff and needing to release it and acknowledge it. And that's one of the biggest pieces that I've learned from the podcast, and what keeps me coming back, because it's so much deeper than, oh, the scale shows a different number now, I need to cut my calories, or I need to walk. No, there's so much other stuff behind that that needs working on. And that's why you have to do this self-development to get yourself in a better place. And then everything else will just release once you're in that better place.
So, for those of you that are listening, I guess this is a really good time to announce some of the things that are coming down the pipeline, the changes in the community, the changes in the future.
The JJ Christel podcast show, or
yeah, that's
Did it just get eliminated from the podcast?
no. The JJ Christel podcast show can be within the inner circle. So what is happening, and I know I announced it a couple times in some of the shows that we've done, Doug and I, but starting December 1st, and maybe there'll be like a pre-launch November 30th, we're doing our last totally free for everybody, Manifestation Challenge November 1st of 2019. After the challenge is over, I will be launching, offering what is now going to be called the Inner Circle membership. And the Inner Circle will get, right now, you guys, depending on what show you listen to, I believe Nutrition and Alternative Medicine is the only show that only has one show a week. Fit to Love, Spirit, Purpose, and Energy, Women, Men, and Relationships all have 2 episodes per week. Those will all be cut down to 1. So if you just listen to one of those shows, you will be reduced back to 1 free show a week. Because, you know, guys, so maybe the title of this podcast today really needs to be about when it's
over.
No, it's not going to be. It's over. It's when it's time to grow, when it's time to change, when it's time to move to the next level. And I've been podcasting since 2014. It is 5 years. I have been giving free content for 5 years. I've increased from what was 6 days a week down to 1 day a week, back up to 2 days a week, but going from 1 podcast to 6 podcasts. So it's time for me to call out myself and to step up. It's time for me to invite those of you that know you're ready for something a little bit more. Maybe you're not ready to come to an event or ready to work with me privately, but it's time for you to step up. And I know I have a lot of you in my Manifestation Challenge. Would you pay a little bit of money to do that, what is currently a free 30-day community-based Manifestation Challenge? And so this Inner Circle membership is going to consist of, first and foremost, the 3 to 4 episodes a month that you're currently getting for free, but they're now going to be put into the membership. And one of the first orders of business that I'm going to put in the membership, I was thinking about content. I've talked a lot about and I've alluded to on several episodes this medical procedure that I had. And I've been thinking about and tossing around how to explain it, what to talk about. I have so many lessons over the 3 to 4 years that I've been sort of dealing with the progression of this and where it led me and all the different healings that have happened and people I've worked with and things I've experienced. And I want to share it all with you, especially anyone who dealt with the same issues that I had. But I can't do it in one show. I can't even do it in 2 shows. And I've decided that I'm going to put it into a book. And I'm going to make an audio book first and foremost, which will be several episodes. Basically, every chapter of the book will be an episode. And I'm going to put all of that into this inner circle. And so basically, I had fibroids. For those that don't know that, I had a whole uterus full of them, so full that I literally had no more room left. And I will say that I did lots of natural things, and I ended up doing something that was still in the interim of, I didn't have surgery. Everything is still intact. Nobody took anything out of me. No one cut me open, and my fibroids are on the way out. And I want to explain the whole thing because too many women are having hysterectomies and having a lot of issues that shouldn't be. And I was an advocate for my own health. I have witnesses that I wasn't a crazy person, but even me going into the doctor's office with as much information as I have, I was told to do things that I think literally should be illegal. I think that the Western Medical Society are so much like lawyers that they look at the worst possible case, even if it's 0.5%, and they tell you to do the absolute most extreme thing to avoid the possibility of something that's so minute. And they don't even take into consideration all the things I teach you on the show about the power of our minds to create our reality and how when you focus on something, you literally create it. So my story, it has lots of information in it. And I searched and scoured the internet for years to find the things that I'm going to tell you about. And I'm hoping that what I can teach you will help save some women's uteruses, as well as avoid some of the surgeries and possibly even heal you naturally so you never need to go back into the doctor's office again. So that's going to be on the inner circle. And I don't know when and how that will all be delivered, but some of these episodes that will happen on the inner circle from now on, all of the live coaching that I do the people that I will pull from will be part of the inner circle. So if you are an inner circle member, you are eligible to get a free live coaching session on air with me. So we're going to be doing 2 manifestation challenges a year just for the inner circle, and the first one's in January. So for $10 a month, $9.99, you are going to get 2 manifestation challenges specifically for the inner circle with more ongoing coaching from me if you want it in the challenge. You're going to get 1 live group coaching a month. So that means for 60 minutes, you can submit a question or come on live with me for free. And whoever's there first and whoever asks the question first is how I'm going to approach this. And you can give me your content. And if it doesn't get answered, I will answer them on the show and put them in the inner circle. So you're going to get 3 to 4 episodes a month that specifically only go to people in the inner circle. You're going to get 2 manifestation challenges in the year that's specifically just for inner circle members. And there will still be 2 free ones throughout the year, but I don't know when they're going to be yet. And you're going to get the live coaching. So once a month, free live coaching, and I will change the time zones so that I can address everyone who's in the Inner Circle membership. And again, that's going to be $9.99 a month. And you'll also get discounts on events and on other services. There'll be other gifts that will come along with that. I'm going to start doing merchandise this coming year in 2020, and you'll be the first to be alerted of that. I'll be happy to give some free swag to those of you that are in the group. Yeah, so I wanted to, it's time for me to step up, and I believe it's time for a lot of you to step up. I know a lot of you have been listening to me for a long time. I've met with a bunch of you recently who've said you've listened to every single show I've ever done. So that is since 2014. We are in 2019, guys. It's time for all of us to step up. So I don't think $9.99 is out of reasonable territory for a free live coaching once a month for 3 to 4 episodes and for 2 focused manifestation challenges just for Inner Circle members. Christel, what do you think?
Here's some perspective. It's 1.5 Starbucks, people. If you go to Starbucks 5 times a week, think of it that way. It's 1.5 Starbucks. You can do this, and you're going to get a lot more benefit out of it than you would going out to lunch once a week even. So,
well, I've just had so much positive feedback over the years about how the show by itself has changed people's lives. And I'm happy about that. And I'm not at all feeling any negativity about that. I am happy it's working for you. And I want it to continue working for you. And I want it to work for me too, even more. So, and I want to serve those of you that are ready for a little bit more, but maybe you're not ready to come to a live event or take on a coaching session or do something like that. So for $9.99 a month, you're going to have the opportunity to have a free coaching call with me in a group, and to submit your questions ahead of time. And if they don't happen during the coaching call, they'll get answered in a Q&A that gets done for the Inner Circle members.
So somebody may be asking, JJ, how is it that I can get a hold of this $9.95 or $9.99 program? Any idea? What's the platform? How it's going to work?
Yeah, there'll be a link in the show notes that you can click on. It'll be an automatic. You can choose to pay with, I think, PayPal or Apple Pay. And then you'll literally get the downloaded show to your phone. So no matter what platform you use, there'll be a brand new icon that'll be the Inner Circle member icon. So it'll look just like a podcast. In fact, it is a podcast, but only those who are in the Inner Circle can access it. And then what happens after you get the content that's already in there for you, you'll also get an email from me. At first, I'm going to want to survey who's in the group to see where you are in the world to decide where to put this group coaching call. And then from there, I will rotate different time zones, different days of the week for the coaching call. It'll be recorded so people can watch it live, and I'll send it to those of you that are in the Inner Circle. And so just watch the show notes, hopefully, if not at the bottom of this link, coming soon, because I don't plan to release it until the end of November. So you will see, don't worry, there'll be an announcement. And I'm just warning y'all ahead of time. So $9.99, and you're going to get a whole bunch of stuff for that $9.99 and be part of the Inner Circle. So like I said, you can get access to applying yourself to be part of the live coaching that's what I'm going to pull from. So, Christel.
Can the Inner Circle go to like the Caribbean once a year or something?
Well, that's the Inner Circle Mastermind. The Inner Circle Mastermind, and there's only 15 people per 12-month program. So the Inner Circle Mastermind can absolutely go to the Caribbean. I can think of doing an event. I'm not, if everyone in the Inner Circle tells me, if I have 100 people, 200, 300 people in the Inner Circle that says, I want to go to the Caribbean, then yeah, we'll put it together.
Can we do male spouses of female Inner Circle participants who need a little male coaching on how to get in touch a little bit more with the feminine side of the masculine part of a relationship?
I don't really understand what you're asking me. How do you want this delivered, honey?
So what I'm asking is, where I'm thinking what might be a positive experience is there are many women that are in your community, and I think that's great. And there's probably some guys in your community too that listen and contribute to the community. But there are a lot of women who have men in their lives who want their men to be a little bit more in tune with their feminine side so that they can get in touch with their woman. And I'm a prime candidate for helping those men in your community. But those men are not listening to the show. Their wives are listening to the show. So,
well, we know that there are men listening to the show. They wrote to us on Women, Men, and Relationships, and a lot of them acknowledged your participation and how they related to you or to me. And of course, yeah, we can. I mean, we had the couples retreat that was going to be set for the end of this year, and it got moved for a couple different reasons. First and foremost, because I really believe that the first place to start in this community is to listen to the show. And so I do want both parties to have listened to a few shows before coming to meet with me or to have an event. The second is that, we want to acknowledge the separate part of the individual first in things like releasing what weighs you down, or the manifestation boot camp, or the next big step. Because when you can recognize that you have your own stuff and that your stuff contributes to your relationship, there's still so much work we can all do as individuals to help our relationships that don't rely on the other person having to participate. It's not about getting your partner to believe you, affirm you, to change, to act differently. It's not about that at all. If we can get to a place where we can acknowledge the things we have to work on and then support each other to work on our individual stuff, we have a fighting chance to really make a deeper connection with each other and improve our relationship. So we can absolutely strategize and network, if you will, and mastermind around how to get some of these women in the community and their spouses involved in some of these things. And I think that's a great goal, because I know that at the end of the day, everyone listening to the show, whether you're male or female, wants a better relationship with their partner. Everyone wants to feel better. Everyone wants a deeper connection. Everyone wants better sex. Everyone wants to feel loved. Everyone wants to feel validated and seen and heard. And we have to figure out a way to get there. And I'm willing to commit to do that with all of you in the inner circle and really make a point of how do we get them involved. So any thoughts on that, Christel?
No, I think that's a great idea. And we've had conversations about this too, the whole love language and knowing how that is with you and your spouse. I mean, there's just so much in the imago, like I mentioned earlier. There's so much that would benefit you both. And, maybe your spouse isn't the type that wants to open up, or even, oh, I don't have the time, whatever. We all have time. But like I mentioned earlier, even if it is just you and you're making that change, it will just filter down to everyone else. And then the more your energy is shifting, the more their energy will shift. And, who's to say they won't say, hey, I want some of what you're having. And that's when you're like, hey, come to this event with me. So I think everyone should encourage their partner to come to, especially Releasing What Weighs You Down, the next event, because it'll be very beneficial for the whole entire relationship. So,
and it's truly going to be a vacation spot. It's in Scotts Valley, California, which is near Santa Cruz and San Francisco and San Jose. 75 acres of redwoods. We've got, they have spa things and massages, and again, just you're in a forest of beauty and amazement. And I think that it's going to be epic for everyone involved. It's going to be a really great event. So that's releasingwhatweighyoudown.com, January 10th through the 12th, 2020. It will be the last live event until 2021. So if you have not been to an event yet and you're thinking about it, that is definitely one to go to. And I will be announcing a little bit later some of the bonuses that I will be able to offer you when you sign up. But if you are signing up, and you've already signed up, go ahead and forward me the email confirmation from 1440, and I will be sure to get you those bonuses. There's going to be a few from Lisa Thomas as well as a few from me, and you won't want to miss getting some of those. So to wrap up today's show, I want to, we had a good time planning the manifestation boot camp. I mean, we haven't gone through it yet, so this is the beginning of it, and hopefully, Christel, you'll chime in after the manifestation boot camp is over and Doug is walking around with the mics in your face and asking for feedback on the event, because this is the first time I've ever done it. And I'm super excited about it. I love how much positive feedback I've gotten about everyone who's coming and it's been to events before you. And even Lisa's like, I can't wait to hang out with you this weekend. And Liz and, Maureen and Marjorie.
Seriously, I've been texting JJ like the last month. I'm like, oh my God, 2 more weeks. Oh my God, 3 more weeks. And then on my way here at the airport, I'm like, I'm so excited. So it's just one of those things you really look forward to. It's not like, oh my God, I got to go to this seminar and no, it's something you're so pumped up for and you just feel so awesome. And After the first one, I had this whole list. I just couldn't wait to get my practices going when I got back home and just keep it going. It's a great feeling.
Well, and do you feel, that this is like, do you feel like you're in a community?
Oh, absolutely. I love the community, and I've stayed in touch with so many people, and it's just great being in the same place with like-minded people and everyone wanting the same goals, and to have that positive energy and go after everything we want in life.
I don't know when this show is going to air, but I had an interview with Jeannie Peters that will air either soon or it's already aired about the effect of the gut and the brain and brain health. And one of the things that we talked about at the end is she acknowledged, because we talked about the emotional side of getting off of antidepressants, or how our food contributes to that, and how the emotional side of certain eating styles or how we deal with things. And she said, and Jeannie's been to 3 of my 4 events. This will be the only event that she hasn't been to so far. And she said, your event really serves people in a way we need that doesn't get met anymore. When we were tribes, like true tribes held the space for different aspects of life growth and change, and would honor women going through different changes, whether it be menstruation or pregnancy or menopause and birth and death, and would hold the space for transition in emotional states. And we don't have that anymore. On one side, we're super connected on a technological side, but we're at the other extreme disconnected from actually being a part of a whole tribe of people on a similar mission. Our families don't provide that really anymore, the way that we live our lives. And so I was really happy, sad that I didn't get to publish the show before the boot camp, but that's okay. It'll serve its purpose for releasing Weighs You Down, because the reason why she loves coming and participating and being part of the event is because it really gets her in touch with what really turns her on. And same thing for me and for Lisa and for you. It's really, you feel valid, you feel seen and heard, you feel connected to, and you feel like you're not weird, right? You're not like, the things that you're talking about and the things that are important to you and the things that light you up are a real thing for so many people. But because we're spread out all over the place, the only way that sometimes we're going to get it is to get on a freaking plane and go be with your tribe and be online, be in a group, be in a mastermind, be in a membership, be on a group on Facebook, where at least, even if you can't see them in person, that you're connecting and that you're getting to know people and you're reading their challenges. Christel, you and I were talking tonight about some law of attraction stuff, and we were walking on the beach, and it made me think of, I don't know if you read this story on Facebook in the Manifestation Challenge. I believe her name was Mary, and she had the situation with her fiance or boyfriend, and she was about to get rid of him, and she was doing this whole law of attraction thing.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to find that and read that this weekend, because she literally started to do manifestation practices, and her whole relationship changed. He literally became the person she wanted him to be when she let go of the need for him to be that and was ready to leave. It wasn't because she was leaving. He literally just became it. He was able to grow into, I think, what he wanted to be all along, but for whatever reason, it wasn't happening. So it's literally a testament to how the power of our minds and our visualization and what law of attraction is that she literally got exactly what she wanted. And it was from the person she was with. See, in my case, I got exactly what I wanted, but I didn't know it was going to be in another person. And she was ready for it to be another person, and then it became the person she was with. But path of least resistance, the minute she let go, it literally shifted. And so, yes, magic can happen. Your relationships can change, your health can change, your life can change. Before we end today's show, I do want to acknowledge Christel, because she has been such a supporter of the show and of me, and working on herself and getting things. And I love the business that you have, and I love the passion you've had for it. And I want you to tell everybody a little bit about it. It's called Healing Christel. And she has been making natural soaps and all kinds of fun bath products. And why don't you tell us about it?
Okay, so yeah, so like I mentioned earlier, I started with just taking a simple class, and then it grew into more and more. Some of the moms at school I gave samples to, and then next thing I know, they were buying teachers' gifts, and I signed up for some craft fairs. So it's really taken off, and I really enjoy it. But basically, it's natural bath and body basically. So I have bath bombs, lotion, soaps. What else do I have? Skin balms, lip balm. And I just have, it's funny, speaking of manifesting, I'm constantly thinking of new ideas. And I'm like, oh, Healing Crystal, my name's Crystal. And I feel like this whole business came about with my healing journey. But now I'm like, oh, you know what I should do is put like a little amethyst crystal inside of the bath bomb. And then when you take your bath, it kind of fizzles out and then you have this crystal. So yeah, I'm just constantly thinking of new ideas. I'm so crazy. I'm going off the rocker now. But I started literally with one thing. And even like these events or talking to someone else, I'm constantly thinking of more things. And next thing I know, it's just going to be huge. So get in it now, because pretty soon I'm going to be the next Amazon, and you're going to want to know me. You're going to want to know me, okay? I'm kind of a big deal.
There's
You
Oprah.
get a bath bomb. You get a bath bomb.
So Healing Crystal, CHRISTEL.com. Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
HealingCrystal.com. Check out her stuff. Follow her on Instagram. And if you badger her enough like I do, you can get Crystal. I'm trying to get her to do some funny videos, because if you notice some of the names of her soaps, she's got some pretty feisty, spunky, sassy names of some of her soaps. Crystal.
Sorry, not sorry. Oh my gosh. Panty droppers, soap for men. What else do I have? Oh gosh, you're putting me on the spot now.
So wait, so Sorry Not Sorry is the name of a soap, and Panty Droppers is the name of a soap?
Absolutely.
Awesome. That's great. You guys have got to check it out. HealingCrystals.com?
Yes.
HealingCrystal.com.
CHRISTEL.
Will you put a link in the show notes?
I will
Okay.
put a link in the show notes. HealingCrystal.com.
Do we have show notes?
We will. We will.
Oh, okay.
We will. I don't use them, but I've been reformed.
And please blow up JJ's email if you enjoyed having me as a guest on her podcast. And if you didn't, don't review. No, yeah, don't send any.
Are you a
emails.
words of affirmation? Are you
yes.
words?
Yeah, words of affirmation and quality time. So here I am.
Right. So Crystal and Doug would both like words of affirmation from everyone listening, but don't give bad words. So if you have nothing good to say, just don't say it at all. But they both would appreciate good words of affirmation. I don't really care. You know me. I appreciate the good words, but if you have a problem with me, just don't listen to the show. But past that, wrapping it up, because Doug is tired and we got to put Crystal to bed because she's been on a plane and it's 2-hour time difference. So healingcrystal.com. There'll be a link in the show notes eventually for the Inner Circle membership. I guess the last thing I'll announce, if you are interested in learning how to build a mind, body, soul business that focuses on collaboration, not competition, that leads with abundance, not scarcity, and that uses law of attraction practices to attract abundance, and also there's another aspect. What did I say? Oh, and build wealth without sacrificing your health. The biggest one of all. Not going crazy and losing your health trying to make money. It's not how you're going to get it, and it's not how you're going to sustain it. That is not a recipe for success. If you're interested in the building health and wealth, I have a free webinar coming up on Tuesday, November 12th, 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Go to jjflazanes.com/build wealth, and a link for that will also be in the show notes. So I will be using show notes from now on, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead and check them out. There will be links. Thanks, Matt and Joe, for helping me to make another $1 million, because that's what's the goal here. And we'll tell you all about that at a different time, everyone. Join the webinar, and we'll see you then. Thank you so much, Christel, for participating in today's show. Doug Sandler, as always, I love you. Thank you so much for being such a great interviewer and supporter of me and everything I do. And I love you, and I appreciate it.
Bye, everybody.